Hello and welcome back to the Arrivals Podcast. I'm your host, Merelise Wilson, and you're tuning in for part 2 of Mindy's triplet birth story.
So that was delivery day. When the babies were born, the best feeling was that they all weighed just about 4 pounds.
Wow.
Which, yeah.
It's a lot of baby.
Thank you. It was a lot of baby
in your
plus
body.
the placentas, plus the blood. Yeah,
right.
I was carrying a lot.
Yes.
I felt so proud of that though, because, I had been working on my diet, not diet, but my nutrition.
Right.
And to be born at 32 weeks and still have that healthy weight, I think really helped their development.
Yeah.
So there were good and bad things, right? Because 4 pounds is also, if I'm remembering correctly, the weight that they have to be discharged from the NICU.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And, babies typically lose
lose a little bit and then,
and then gain it back. But yeah, I would say that was one of learning their weights at birth was one of my more proud, the high protein paid off. So that was exciting that they were healthy weights, healthy links, all in all, extremely healthy, what we had expected, except that they, had their own premature challenges here and there. And so begins the NICU life.
I know.
That no one can prepare you for.
No.
Even though we had tried. It was a whole entire 7 days before I could hold my babies.
No. Ugh. I remember getting that first picture though.
That day felt incredible. But no one prepared me for that period of time.
I literally can't imagine. I can't imagine being separated.
And I knew to be ready for that, and yet you can't be.
No.
Let me just start by saying Piedmont NICU is truly one of a kind. And every single person there, I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
The best. We had toured the NICU. We knew what to be prepared for, and I've already said the NICU is expected. It was not a shock for us whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like the goal was growth and development. The NICU was a step down womb. Truly.
Right. A transition.
It was. We knew that, but it was not without its challenges as well. Seeing them in the NICU for the first time, as full of joy as I was, also just felt weird. I was barely lifting my head up. I couldn't hold them. It just, you're learning what you can and can't do with your own children. I was being rolled around and introduced to who's who from nurses and doctors. And simultaneously also having to learn terminology, understand what equipment does what, trying to absorb like what these new processes and protocols and like what our new day-to-day would look like. It was definitely a learning curve.
Yeah.
And it took some time.
Yeah.
Took the medicine wearing off, I'll tell you that. The fogginess was its own thing.
Yeah.
And then NICU daily life, we did eventually get into a routine.
And how long were each of them there for?
Great question. So that's probably one of the hardest parts of this whole entire journey is that they came home from the NICU with staggered discharges, which we were thankful for because, you want them to grow and develop and be ready and graduate, more or less. But I was not prepared for my heart to need to be in 3 places at one time. And I physically couldn't. The daily life of NICU world, I was pumping around the clock. I was exhausted. We were sleeping at home. That might be like the one benefit that everyone was reminding me of is like, rest now.
Yeah.
Like recover your body, get your sleep, trust that your babies are being cared for in the safest place by professional medical teams who know exactly what they need.
Yeah.
So we did. We leaned in on that, even though it felt weird and hard and all of things in between. But the daily life was us waking up, driving to and from the hospital
Yeah.
every day, me pumping around the clock every 3 hours or as I could to get my production up. We're splitting time between babies. They weren't even all in the same room
Oh my goodness.
or even in the same level of NICU
right.
at certain times.
And you can't, I remember you telling me once one baby has come home, they can't go back to the NICU. So it's not like you could
Correct.
all go together.
Correct.
Like someone would have to stay home with the baby and then the other person would go to the NICU, or you'd have to have a family member stay with the baby at home. So you could both go to the NICU together.
Correct. There was like a mother's room that, if I remember correctly, they could go in there, but still somebody needed to sit with them. So yeah, it was a juggle of, again, logistics of who's going where and when, and trying to coordinate with the NICU team and their schedules. They do rounds, family rounds, where you get your updates on each child. And that's where you're learning about what we're going to try today and if they're ready to, move from this to this. And that's where you're celebrating the little wins. Or if something scary happened overnight, if they had an apnea, you're learning, okay, this happened and we're concerned about that. And now we need to try this. So there were moments that were just challenging as we transitioned, both from NICU life and then to going home.
Yeah. So once you were discharged from the hospital and came home, what was that like for you? Kind of like the day-to-day of having 3 babies in the NICU?
Oof. Good question. Hard question.
Yeah.
If I were not 8 years removed, this would be a question that makes me cry. As prepared as I was for that, no one can prepare you for the varying waves of emotions, the new normal. You're navigating a new daily routine, somehow also juggling. I believe Travis was already on parental leave, but also sort of tried to coordinate with his company to, save to work immediately while they were in the NICU so that he could save some time when they were actually home. So there were just very real life, hey, what does tomorrow look like? Because we have 3 babies in a hospital under an incredible care team. And every degree of severity, every reason for a child needing time in the NICU is different. And truly, I can't emphasize this enough. Like, all things considered, I'm so grateful we had 3 healthy babies. And still, there were cords for IVs and monitoring and feeding and, they were on CPAP and nasal cannulas, and it all was happening on such a quick timeline. I almost didn't even have the time to learn it before they were moving on to the next thing, which is a blessing in disguise, right? As soon as I thought I understood one of the terms, they were graduating to the next level and improving and growing and developing. And that's what you hope for, right? There was the logistical side of it, the actual what we were doing and how, which we've talked about. There's also the emotional realities. And I think that's, I don't want to say hard because you can do it, but it's definitely the toughest part. The reality that I had no ability to control anything. You give birth to these babies and you want to be the mother and to let your motherly instincts go wild and to suddenly, and in so many cases, especially with singleton healthy births where you're just with your baby immediately, that bond starts. It was different for us. It was harder to bond through isolates, incubators, cords, nurses, me not knowing what I could or couldn't touch, what beep meant what.
Right. They couldn't nurse because they didn't have the function right?
Yeah. And, sidebar quickly, nursing was not ever my plan. Just, being fully transparent. I didn't know how I would have sanity, the time,
no,
the
I cannot
space
imagine.
on my chest.
I can't even imagine the logistics of how that would work.
I had to make a decision on that one to just say, you know what, Mindy, there's different ways of HELLP for baby and mom, and you do what keeps everyone sane.
Yeah.
So I am proud to say I pumped for a year of their life.
You pumped for a year?
For a year.
Oh my goodness.
The majority of that year, or at least the first 7 months, probably every 3 hours. In terms of NICU time, the best part was just cheering on the small milestones. And I think it's such an important part of life is celebrating the small wins.
Mm-hmm. It's a good lesson in general.
Such a good lesson. There are moments in that journey where people don't even know what you're going through, but you know that the tiniest thing is a huge thing.
What would you tell people who have friends going through a NICU journey or a high-risk pregnancy journey? What was helpful for you? How did you feel supported during both of those time periods in your life?
Great question. We did feel extremely supported. We had friends offering, you being one of them, offering meal trains and any support that they could possibly give. I think for me, the check-ins, people being curious about those small wins, like how's so-and-so doing today? What's the progression? There's multiple sides of it, right? There's the emotional side, and then there's the stuff that we weren't necessarily expecting. For us, we were going to and from the hospital every single day. I remember people giving us gas gift cards, or, gift cards to order food, delivery, those little things that could just take something off of our plate, off of our mind, where if we had been in the hospital all day long, to come home and have either a casserole to pop in the oven or, a Uber Eats card to just order whatever so that we could just get back to the hospital first thing the next morning. Mm-hmm. Those things were huge. And that sounds so financial, but it meant far more than that.
Yes.
Friends checking in, not even necessarily on me, but on how the babies were doing in those days that felt like years because they weren't in my home. It meant the absolute world. And, from a work standpoint, we had at the time the best of the best on both sides of just companies that were supportive. Mm-hmm. My husband's company, offered us sort of flexible parental leave where he could work a little bit while they were in the NICU and then be more of a father when they came home. And there's a lot of things I will say about insurance, and that's a whole nother.
I know. Could be a whole another podcast, not just an episode, a whole podcast.
But no, I could give so much advice to those who are either entering the NICU journey and or supporting someone who is in it. Mm-hmm. But I think just any aspect of being there, and sometimes not even asking what to do, just doing. Mm-hmm. The decision fatigue is heavy.
It's very real.
And showing up at times like that, I wish I could even say that I specifically remember. And I think that's what's even more important is that it's such a blur and such a fog and such a busy phase for the person going through it that they just need support and they don't know what to ask for.
Yeah. Similarly, as you know, obviously, when my dad passed, that was a hard time for me. And since then, people have asked me how they can support people who are grieving. And similarly to what you said, a lot of times I don't remember what people did, but I remember the feeling they gave me. I don't remember what someone said, but I do remember that someone reached out. And there's nothing wrong. You can't say something wrong. At least that's how I felt. Just letting me know that you cared. I know for me, I second guess a lot of times what to say in situations like that. But now having been on the other side, I'd say I can say that for me, there's nothing wrong to say. It just was, just say something. Just let them know you're thinking about them.
Anything.
Yeah.
Anything. The smallest acts make the biggest difference.
What was it like once they came home? I know that, I mean, not to jump ahead, but I know Morgan specifically still came home with like quite a few pieces of equipment. And, it wasn't just like bring your baby home and it's all easy from there on out. There were still challenges and struggles once they came home.
I remember you seeing me at my worst during that period of time. There were a lot of emotional realities during the NICU time.
Mm-hmm.
But life as they transitioned home was equally challenging, a lot of feelings, so great and so hard. And frankly, NICU life, this is me speaking in hindsight 8 years down the road. I don't know what I would have said when I was in it. I know how lucky we are to have modern medicine and amazing NICU teams and hospital teams. Like, what they are able to do for premature babies is amazing.
Yeah.
My fear was, what if I can't do that once they get home?
One of my other friends shared this, like the fear that, are they safer just staying in the hospital?
And that starts to creep in your mind.
Yeah.
Even if all you want is for them to be home, for you to start your family normal. We could not. We were so excited. I mean, granted, the transition to home life, it came with all the feelings, all the feelings. But I remember finding out, well, let me back up. We knew based on how they were progressing within 2 weeks that they were not going to be coming home on the same day.
Yeah.
I think it's actually pretty rare.
I would think
for
so.
a multiples birth. It all just depends on what complications you're facing, right? Like, the reason you're in the NICU to start with plays into when you get to go home.
Yeah.
Are you in there for feeding? Are you in there for regulating body temperature? Are you in there for weight? Prematurity in general. Are you in there for respiratory distress? There's so many factors beyond that.
Right.
I'm so blessed that with 3 triplets delivered 32 weeks and 2 days, that our NICU time was as short as it was.
Yeah.
So Zoe was the first one to come home. We did not necessarily see that coming because she was the one, if I remember correctly, Zoe was the one who had the most respiratory distress at birth and had to be intubated and was given some medicine to kickstart the lungs, surfactant. And suddenly, next thing we know, she's the little fighter who's surpassing all milestones. And she was in the NICU for 2.5 weeks. We couldn't wait to get her home. Because she was the first one. She was the first one to meet our first fur baby at the time.
Gracie.
Yes, sweet Gracie. And we got to introduce her to Zoe. And I think the second you walk a baby through the threshold of your front door that hadn't been there yet, and that you've just been waiting day by day to get there, it felt surreal. We finally felt like we were a real family instead of just like a hospital family. But also, I know I for sure underestimated how much of a juggle we were about to face with a baby at home, 2 babies still in the NICU, life in general.
Your body recovering. Not only are you recovering from...
Oh, yeah. Oh, and that.
Yes. Not only are you recovering from surgery, but you also just carried triplets for 8 months. Like, that is... Your body has been through a lot.
I will say I felt less of the needed recovery from the carrying and far more of the, well, C-section, obviously, surgery, but really coming off the medicine.
I know. I remember you saying that.
The hardest, weirdest few days for me were just getting back to my normal, clear state of mind. Hormones.
Yeah.
And getting off the meds.
Yeah.
So Zoe was home after 2.5 weeks. Tristan, Tristan was in the NICU for just under 4 weeks. And they have this phrase for little boys. I think it's weak white boy.
I've heard this.
Or something.
Something along those lines.
Those lines. And he was every bit of that definition.
They're supposedly the worst nursers.
We weren't nursing,
but that's the context I've heard it in.
He would fall asleep mid-feed. I mean, this started when he still had a tube.
White boy. Wimpy white boy syndrome.
That's it. All my nurses who hear this, just disregard all the things I'm forgetting. Wimpy white boy.
Yeah.
And gosh, I love that boy, but he fit every definition and otherwise would have been healthy and ready to be discharged.
Yeah.
But he would, have a little bit of his bottle and just sleep.
Yeah.
And sleep and sleep. He wanted nothing to do with developing to leave. So, his 4 weeks were mild.
Yeah.
We were like, anytime you want to wake up and finish your bottle, you could probably go home. But, so we weren't concerned about him. We were not concerned. He took his time. Where things really got emotionally hard, and I remember having a night with you during this period of time. It was somewhere between the 4 to 5 weeks after they were born. I think we had 2 babies home. Morgan was still in the NICU. She was having a lot of bradycardias. That was so scary.
Yeah. You want to tell everyone what that is?
Oh gosh, let me try to explain it.
You stop breathing?
Basically, you stop breathing and the monitor goes off and it looks like your heart is stopped.
Yeah. Really casual stuff.
All I know is my heart skipped so many beats every time that would happen. Because you think they're dying.
Yeah.
They're not breathing suddenly. And I saw enough the very first time I saw her face turn like purple into blue.
Oh, God.
They resuscitated her. She was totally fine. It was in the NICU. Like, that's what they're trained to do.
Right.
But the PTSD from some of those experiences doesn't leave your brain.
No.
And yet, you grow accustomed to it. And so there was this period of time where I could not wait for her to get home. I would cry every day leaving her. It didn't seem fair that we had this family of 4. There was a missing piece. And yet a part of me was scared for her to leave the safety net of the NICU.
Yeah.
And so when we did finally find out that Morgan was being discharged, she was in the NICU for 5.5 weeks. She was still having Brady's and had to come home on an apnea monitor.
I remember.
Bless her heart, had all the cords connected to her for, it was a 6-month thing.
Yeah. You got to be so chill about it. I remember overtime.
Oh my gosh, overtime.
But it was so nerve-wracking to hold her because she had all these cords coming out of her. But like towards the end, even after I feel like a few weeks, you were like, it's fine to anyone who would hold her. But
because finally you're looking at her and you're like, okay, she's breathing and she's not purple. This is a false alarm.
Yeah.
But at first.
Yeah. Poor little thing.
I will say the NICU, oh my gosh, how incredible, how thankful I am. But I grew so comfortable to all the life-saving devices that I feared what I was capable of as a mother. And I had to relearn to trust my own gut instincts, my own knowledge, my own awareness of my own babies.
I feel like this is going to resonate so much with so many NICU moms.
I can't even tell you the mental build up I had to give myself.
Yeah.
Like, you can keep this baby alive. I mean, truly, I was like, I asked Priscilla, my sweet NICU nurse friend, I was like, how am I going to do this? I have 3 babies. Like, what if her monitor goes off? And she was like, you will know what to do.
Yeah.
And by the way, those monitors have so many false alarms. PTSD is real.
Oh, yeah.
Or trauma is real. You know, whatever.
Yes,
we all know this.
Triggers.
We know this.
Yeah. Does that trigger you?
They're not anymore.
Mm.
But for years, probably until they were about 3 or 4, I would hear our dishwasher finish.
Ugh.
And I would start to jump.
Yeah.
Because when we heard that monitor go off, we would drop everything and run.
Yeah.
To her crib, stimulate her awake, make sure, is it a false alarm? Is she not breathing? Do we need to turn her over? Do we need to, pat her back?
Yeah.
The noise is ingrained in my brain forever.
Yeah.
I sort of feel bad telling this story. I don't want to scare anyone.
No.
But I guess I want to tell the truth of the pros and cons.
Yeah.
The realities, both the physical, the emotional, just truly the realities of going through this part's not even multiples life. This is just a reality of preemie and NICU world, and any child with mild to severe complications.
Right. Any medical parent, I feel like,
Yeah. Yes.
I also think that probably where this will really be beneficial is for other NICU moms who've been through this. It'll be validating that they're not alone.
Sure.
That there are other people who have that same trigger, who hear that monitor noise. And so, no, I don't think
it has gone away.
That's good.
Finally.
That's also positive. If anyone's out there still in year 3 or less, it will go away.
Hearing beeps and jumping at the sound of it.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, the reality of when they all finally got home, apnea monitor aside, and then we're home to just a little monitor and trusting their cry and trusting that we're just in tune with every need.
Yeah.
And that felt hard to start with. And then you just get to know your babies.
I think even non-NICU parents can relate to that.
1000%.
When you leave the hospital with this 2 or 3 day old baby, you're like, are you sure? Am I qualified to take this thing home and keep it alive? What?
Well, and I've talked a lot about the hard stuff. I sort of feel bad about that.
No.
But let me flip it really quick too, because I can't imagine a singleton pregnancy to your point, when you bring a baby home at 2 or 3 days old, what?
Yeah, that's true.
The joy we had is our babies were already on a schedule.
Right.
The NICU did that for us.
Yeah.
And we continued that assembly line.
Yeah. Oh, I remember you calling it the assembly line. And we would come,
still do.
When we would come over, you'd be like, all right, Mary, you're on bottle.
Which part
Chris,
do you want?
You're on diaper.
Yeah.
Oh.
We knew exactly when they ate. We knew exactly when to wake them up, change their diaper, feed them, burp them, keep them awake for a little while, and right back to nap.
Yeah.
We were just on the schedule, and it works for some. It doesn't work for everyone. But let me tell you, multiples parents on there, do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Because we knew when we could expect breathing time.
Yeah.
Our own time. Just a down moment.
Yeah.
There's not a lot.
No.
Because you're making bottles, cleaning.
I cannot comprehend it. I think about it regularly.
There were
it
so
was
many
overwhelming. It was overwhelming for me as a singleton mom. I can't tell you how many times I thought of you in my newborn days with both boys. I was like, how did Mindy do this with 3? But as I've previously stated, if there was anyone who was made to do it, it was you.
You're so kind. We did call in the best of the best once everyone was finally home.
Yeah.
Mom's on call.
Yeah.
I feel like someone else has already mentioned them.
Oh,
I'll
it's like a
do it
regular.
again.
Yes, I know. Moms on Call sponsor me because someone
Yeah,
brings it up every episode.
please. Actually, I reached out. Laura Hunter came to our house.
Yeah. Oh, that's
She had
amazing.
twins.
Yeah.
And yeah, all 3 babies were home. So we went through our routine with her. And I said, help me survive when my husband travels for work.
Oh,
And so she just showed me the ways that I could bathe them and feed them and survive. Not that it had to happen often,
mhm.
but I needed to know how to be a mom to 3 babies at once.
Yeah.
And that was like one of the hardest lessons during their time in the NICU and when they got home. And I just remember feeling like you can't split love 3 ways,
Mm.
but your heart does expand.
I totally believe that.
Whew.
Yes.
And I don't know how. I couldn't control that, but it worked. It
Yeah.
happened. You know, there were a few other things that we did to try and ease our life here and there. We tried to have a night nurse come in. It wasn't really for us. The night she came, she was wonderful. She was actually one of our NICU nurses.
Oh,
the
wow.
best. We had like a house, like a plumbing issue. It was just bad timing. I didn't sleep that night anyways. I wasn't sleeping because I was pumping around the clock.
Yeah.
Night nurse just wasn't for us.
Yeah.
We figured out our routine, who does what and when, and that worked for us.
What is something you would say to people who are expecting multiples, whether it's something you would recommend, anything from like a simple to a tool or a device or a new car, all the way to just like
a new car,
all the way
3
to just
across.
probably more importantly, like what would you say to them emotionally, like that something that helped you or stuck with you during your journey, especially in the early days as a triplet mom?
You're going deep on me. The first thing that comes to mind is trust the process. Which is hard to do. They're, emotions are emotions, and sometimes they're hard to control. It's still in my life at 8 years old. It is still some days, one day at a time.
Yeah.
One day at a time. And pregnancy felt that way, and NICU life felt that way. And I think you just really have to like embrace that, trust the process.
One day at a time.
And take one day at a time.
Yeah.
But like there were some things I wasn't great at that I also would probably give advice, but it's pot calling kettle black.
That's okay. You live and learn. Live and learn.
Accept help. More of it. However, I won't even go into all the ways that I could have done better still.
Yeah.
In the NICU days, when you get so hung up on small wins, which is great. I also think, and actually this is not just NICU days. Once they come home too, like, we're also ingrained to celebrate the firsts and the milestones and this and that, but milestones don't define outcomes.
Oh, I love that.
Am I saying that the right way?
Yes, I think that was said perfectly.
I have 3 8-year-olds downstairs probably making too much noise. Who have, dealt with breathing machines, apnea monitors, wearing helmets, feeding therapy, you name it.
Yeah.
You name it. They talked and babbled at different times. They crawled and walked at different times. Those milestones that felt so big at the time, and even comparing to other friends who delivered around the same time, they don't define where they are today.
Oh, it's so true.
Ooh.
It is so
I need to remind that to myself often. I will also say I've had to remind myself that NICU life, not for all, but can be traumatic, and that's valid.
Yes.
I tried to be so tough because what else do? You're trying to put your best foot forward, right?
Yeah.
I had never been a mom before this, and that's all I knew. But it doesn't mean it doesn't impact you. And I've had to think a lot about that over the years.
Yeah.
Especially the few years that my dishwasher would finish its cycle and I'd jump up to check an apnea monitor. And then I was like, oh, wait,
I
we're
have a
past that.
3-year-old.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I mean, and that feeds into my like other point is you don't always have to be as strong as you think you do.
Message for all moms.
And everyone.
Yes, everyone. Yes.
But definitely motherhood.
Yeah.
I mean, you, as a close friend of mine, have seen and known. I'm so thankful. I did not battle postpartum anxiety, depression, any of that. Like I just somehow, praise the Lord, like powered through all of those early days.
Mhm.
But around the time that the kids were 2.5, I think I had my first taste of anxiety, if you will. And that was my lesson that being strong and sweeping things under the rug only hurts you in the long run. And as a mom, it's ingrained in us almost to want to do everything we can to stay strong. I don't know that I have the solution yet, still at 8 years in. But I do think I am reminding myself that it's okay to not be strong sometimes.
It really is. Yeah.
And then just the coexisting feelings. Every part of my journey has been coexisting feelings.
Light and dark.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not anymore. I mean, yes, it's still hard some days and fun. It started off scary and exciting. You know, and what those feelings were shifted throughout the past 8 years.
Yeah.
But it's never been just one. And I think that anyone facing, to come full circle at last, anyone facing a multiples pregnancy, a high risk journey, a NICU journey, anything scary, I think it's just accept that like feeling your feelings is so important. Allow it to be both and all and not just one singular thing, and don't feel guilt for that. It's okay if it feels scary
and messy.
Yeah. And exciting.
Yeah.
And all the other things. You know, I was sort of going to end with this because we had talked about it earlier. I saw a quote by chance within the past week. I'll read it. Quote, every now and then, run your fingers across the scar. Remind yourself how far you've come. I think that could be interpreted a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Literal scars, emotional scars.
For me, I go to literal. You mentioning when your dad passed, you may go emotional. What it means to me is I feel of like grief and joy coexisting. Motherhood is hard. Hard. And the journey has so many unknowns, twists and turns and surprises and things that I thought I could plan that I couldn't and clearly didn't. Decisions to make, or in my case, lack thereof.
Yeah.
Where I was also sad that I couldn't make certain decisions. So yeah, I think a lot of times, you know, I have 8-year-olds now. I have to truly pause. I have to give thanks to my body. And I try to practice this in the weirdest but honest way, most honest way possible. Feel the C-section scar.
Yeah.
Like, know what your body did. Look at your children, happy, healthy, running around. Like, who cares that you'll never wear a bikini again? Look at what you've created.
Yeah.
And so for me, it truly is that. Has it necessarily been easy? No. Has it been worth every second? Yes. I've learned so much. I've grown so much. But I think looking back and realizing how far you've come this applies to so much,
Right.
but motherhood in general, because it can drag on some days and it can fly by in years.
Yeah.
And taking that pause to just say, thank you, body, recognizing your scars, and just knowing how far you've come is something I'm going to try and work on more.
Oh, it's definitely something I can work on more, for sure. Well, I don't want to stop talking, but I do feel like our families would probably appreciate if we came and hung out with them.
Have our kids knocked on the door recently?
Before I bring the kids up, I always like to end by asking my guests to describe birth in 3 words. No pressure. Just like first thing that pops in your head.
Well, unique is the first word. I love talking birth stories with you, and I've loved listening to all your other guests on your show. No 2 stories are the same.
Oh, so true.
I mean, I realize mine's like sort of a outlier. Jinx. I just love the uniqueness of
Agreed.
every personal birth story. What is a word for all the things all at once? Like all encompassing?
All encompassing, yeah.
Is that a good word for that?
Sure, yeah.
I think that speaks to how it can feel like a lot all at once, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we have? All encompassing.
Unique.
I've got to go miraculous. I have 3 healthy triplets that are spontaneous, fraternal, try. First time, where did they come from? What the heck? This is my life.
Yeah.
It still feels surreal.
Yeah.
Babies.
Yes.
That was a very long sentence.
Miraculous was the word.
Miraculous is the word.
Oh.
So many, I would say stars had to align, but so many chromosomes had to align.
Stars is a little bit more, whimsical.
Earthy.
Yes.
They're miracle babies.
Yeah.
They're fighters. They still are. We've been through some things in 8 years. They are strong babies. It is a miracle. I am just shocked that this is my life still. Miraculous.
Unique and all-encompassing.
All-encompassing. Are those good words?
Absolutely. And they're your words. I cannot thank you enough for revisiting all of this with me. It has been personally such a joy to talk about this time period and talk about your kiddos. And I know that so many women will appreciate your insight, not only from a multiple mom perspective or a NICU mom perspective, but just your take on motherhood and everything it entails. I personally have always appreciated your wisdom.
You're the sweetest.
Well, it's true.
I've always loved talking to you, and the fact that we're doing it in this format makes me so happy.
Me too.
For you.
Oh, makes
and
me happy
everyone
for
else who gets to benefit.
Yes.
Well, thank you for having me. This has been a joy. It allowed me to reflect and dig back into 8 years of memories that are so precious. And let me just remind every mom, please write your birth story down closer to your birth than 8 years after the fact.
That's a great way to
let that be my lesson.
Final word. All right. Well, you've been listening to the Rivals podcast. Until next time.
My name is Tristan. I am 8 years old. And my favorite thing is Legos.
Hi, my name is Mindy Zeh. I am 8 years old. And my favorite thing is cooking.
Hi, I'm Morgan Zeh. I'm 8 years old and I like sloths and hippos.
Thanks for listening to the Arrivals podcast.